Hello there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of E&Ftv. Today is a particularly special one as we have a brand new guest to the channel who's never been on, but a good friend of mine and someone that is very heavily involved in a project that we're involved in at the moment over the last couple of years. Yeah, Alex, thank you so much for taking the time out of your incredibly busy schedule to join me on the show today.
Too busy for you, Tom.
Well, I've been really looking forward to this one because,
Yeah.
as I said off camera, the nice thing about this is we're going to be able to find out a bit about you, your background, bit about, of course, your new business, or I say new business, it's been around for a little while now, how it came about, but also a few insights in the market that you're seeing as well. But before we get into it, I want to say a quick thank you to everybody that's tuning into this week's episode. We bring you content every single week with fantastic guests, just like Alex. And to do that, we need a brilliant, growing community around us. So don't forget to click that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below on this episode. And don't forget to click the like button. So, Alex, as you are a brand new guest to the channel,
Yeah.
what we love to do, because we have people that are already very well established in their careers, but we also have a lot of students, a lot of graduates, a lot of people at the start of their careers that love to hear how leaders in our industry have got to where they are. So I'm going to shut up for a second and I'm going to hand it over to you. But can you give us a bit of insight into your background and what brought you to starting your own business, which is, of course, 17 Sales Support?
Yeah, it is. Oh wow, it's nice when someone else says it actually. It's nice.
I
I'll tell you about where the name come from as well in a second.
love that. Go
Um,
for it.
So I have spent over 20 years in hospitality. When I think about that, I do the maths and I go, I think it's 23 now. I still say 20, but we're getting older, right? So I think when I started the business, I was on 22 and now I'm 23 years. But I've worked across hotels, branded, independent, hotel management companies, predominantly in the sales and commercial space.
Yeah.
But I started my career in Liverpool, actually waiting on in a hotel and doing some God, silver service back in the
Oh,
day when
yeah.
I was 17. But I started my career in like a branded hotel, which was Thistle and Guoman, which you've
Uh-huh.
now got Guoman, have gone to Santa Claremont, haven't they? But I was always predominantly in sales and commercial roles when I moved to London. So I came to London 15 years ago and I worked as a meetings and events executive at the Guoman Tower, which was a
Right.
big old beast. But I just loved that face-to-face sales aspect of the job. So I moved
Yeah.
away from reactive event planning, wedding planning, and all that sort of thing, and found myself in proactive sales. I completely winged my first interview, by the way,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the HR director at the time of this particular company. I'll say it because I don't think she's there anymore. It's now Convene,
Okay.
ETC
Yes.
venues, Convene. Done the interview, and she goes to me, "Well, it's obvious you've got where you are today based on your personality alone because you're not qualified for this job." I was mortified. I went home to my husband and I was like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Do you know what? It took years to get over that comment, but I have now completely spun that into a positive. And I thought, she was right. I got where I was based on my personality, the love of the industry, and the hunger
Yeah.
and ambition to move forwards into sales. And they
Yeah.
did give me that chance. And that's where I've been ever since. So, whereas I used to see it as a, oh my God, that was embarrassing. And I'll go, thank you for saying that, because
Yeah.
that's, which I'll come to, how I've built my model of my business today. So, but
Awesome.
basically, after working for years and years in different hotels, on site, regional roles, management companies, not that long ago, I
Mm.
noticed a pattern. Many hotels, particularly independents and smaller groups, they just can't justify a full-time senior salesperson
Sure.
anymore, whether that be there's not enough good stock of people around, people are asking crazy salaries now. I mean, you know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
recruitment field, or they've just got the gaps in their commercial structure where they don't need to take someone on for forever. They just need a
Yeah.
project attending to, you know. So they still need the practice sales support, strategic thinking, and someone to represent them, but without the overhead of another full-time salary, then the onboarding process, then the
Of
training. They
course.
just want someone to hit the ground, you know? So that's
Yes.
what led me to create 17 Sales Support. I just wanted to offer like a flexible solution where hotels can access experienced commercial expertise, should we
Yes.
say, exactly when they need it. So I kind of work as an extension of a hotel sales team,
Yeah.
representing their brands, building pipelines, strengthening key accounts, and helping them generate basically like long-term profitable business. So it's that whole piece. But the name came from, if you don't mind me just doing
Yeah.
this,
Yeah. Go for it.
so 17 has always been my lucky number, right? Don't know
Right.
why. Apparently, it was my mum and dad's as well. I lost my dad
Okay.
6 years ago, but since I lost my dad, 17 is just more prevalent. It's always there 17, 17, 17. I'll walk down the road, there's a bus number 17. I'll stop at lights, there's house number 17. It's just
Right.
always there. And when I decided to start my business in June last year, 2025, something was like, what you're going to call it, and then it was going 17, 17, and I was like, that bloody number again followed me round, and I was like, keep it simple, 17 sales support.
It rings really well. Like it
It
sort of,
does, thank you.
yeah, yeah. It's sort of the three
Yeah,
S's, I suppose, but it does sort of roll off the tongue very easily.
thank you. It's quite
No,
long, like my email address is the number 17 just to shorten it, but yeah.
sure. No, no, I love it. Um, yeah, I think you sort of answered this in part in your last question, but in terms of what 17 sales support is, of course, as you said, you're an extension of the
Yeah,
team. Um, in terms of the demographic or in terms of your segment, who is 17 sales support aimed at? You said sort of independents and smaller groups.
yeah.
Is that where you're really sort of sat, and is that where the need is greatest, I suppose?
Honestly, I've probably contradicted myself because no, it's not just set for smaller groups and
Okay,
independents. I do work for brands as well.
sure.
Basically, it's essentially a fraction. The Americans love saying fractional sales, don't they? It's a
Yes,
fractional
yeah, yeah,
sales and commercial support business for hotels. Now, when I say
sure.
hotels, I will still work with non-residential venues because I've got a heavy M&E
Yeah,
background, as you know,
yeah.
and I will still work with apart hotels as well. In fact, my phone has been ringing constantly with apart hotels lately. So there's
Really?
something going
Okay.
on there which I find quite interesting.
Yeah,
But I think what I offer is rather than just sit, like generating leads for them, I become part of their team, like I've just
yes.
mentioned. So business development, corporate account, it might be helping with their RFPs, their agency relationships. One of my clients actually created a role for me as their national agency account manager 2 days a week. So I
Right.
have different hats every day. So one day
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might be doing a few of my independents and RFPs and corporate transient, and then the next day I am fully in my client's hat as their national agency sales manager.
right.
And the agents don't, well, the ones that know me well will know, but they won't always know that I don't work for the company. I've got my own
Sure.
email address. I just completely slot in.
Yeah.
So it's designed for independents and groups. But like I said, I work with brands too. So I've got heavy involvement with IHG, Marriott, Hilton,
Yeah.
purely because a lot of them are franchised, right?
Of
So
course.
it's still an independent group if you look at it that way. The owned and
Hmm.
operated groups still have the brands. So I'm
Yeah.
actively working with the global account directors at the big brands as well.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. What one thing I just want to touch on, you said it in your background, but of course you have a very strong background on the M&E side of things. And for anyone that doesn't know, Alex has been part of our sort of M&E revolution, if you like, over the last 4 or 5 years. And you've played a huge part in where it's going now over the last 2 years. I know that we've obviously got our next meeting next week. But just for anyone that doesn't know, Alex is a big part of that, and she's in sort of involved in where that's going, in the direction of which M&E is going in our industry from an optimization perspective. So I want to say a massive thank you to you, Alex, while you're on the channel, because I just thought I may as well shout you out for that because you're part of it, you're part of the movement, and you've got a fantastic background in it.
yeah, the pleasure's all mine. I'm delighted to be involved. Like, I just wish I would have been there from day one, you know. But
Oh yeah,
I was probably knee deep in the corporate 9 to 5, wasn't I? But no, it's brilliant. I mean, I think you know by now I'm so passionate about meetings
yeah,
and events.
yeah,
So passionate. So I do bring a lot to the table with my clients. Like
yes,
it's that incremental revenue, isn't it? You know, if you've got a hotel with a small meeting room and they're not using it, or you've got a hotel with a room that isn't a meeting room, we'll make
yep,
it one. I think
yep.
it's about understanding the benefits of that ancillary revenue coming from another department that you might not have already thought of, because I'm from a background where I just assume that all hotels do M&E and they all have a revenue person looking after M&E, but
Yeah.
that's just not the case, is it? And I'm finding that as I go on. So
If anything, it's a rarity, as we've come to realize, is that
yeah,
unfortunately it's still an area of the market that needs a hell of a lot of attention. So it's
yeah.
exciting. But anyway, we're going to move on. So
Otherwise, we'll get stuck down the M&E rabbit hole and we'll just
exactly,
completely digress.
you're passionate about it. I'm continuously learning about it. So yeah. Now, there was a recent post that you put out, and I found it really interesting. So I wanted to touch on this because I think there'll be a lot of people in our audience from a hotelier perspective that will find it really interesting. So in a recent post, you highlight that now more than ever, one of the biggest missed opportunities to drive direct bookings isn't just down to your website, it's your reception desk. Now, I found that
Yeah.
a really interesting statement. Can you just give us a bit of insight into how this discovery came about and what you're seeing in the industry with that perspective?
Yeah, of course. So basically, the context or the background of it is hotels spend huge amounts of money improving websites, investing in
Yeah.
new booking engines, and all the fancy tech. They're very heavily OTA reliant still, a lot of
Hmm.
them. So massive commission overheads. One of the most important touch points that we overlook, I don't know why,
Mm.
is the person answering the phone or the person checking in the guest.
Hmm.
So guests are always looking for reassurance before they book. They might have questions about parking, family rooms, accessibility, or whether they're celebrating something in particular, what is bringing them to the area, all that sort of
Sure.
thing. If the conversation feels transactional or rushed, they'll often end the call and book somewhere else, to be honest, or they'll just go straight
Okay.
to booking.com. No offense, booking.com, but that's ideally we want to retain them direct.
Of course.
Obviously the OTAs serve a great purpose and we couldn't be without them, but there are so many guests that we can, attract as a direct booker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reception teams are so busy. This isn't about blaming anyone. I've done reception. I know how slammed you get, but it's about recognizing that every incoming call and every guest interaction is a revenue and sales opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
simple things like just asking the right questions. Like I've just mentioned then, what brings you to the area?
Mm.
You've got a lot of office nearby. Some of it's so obvious, but is it obvious if they've not been given the tools and training to ask those
Yes.
questions?
Yeah.
So I did undertake some training with two of my London hotels a couple of weeks ago. It was great sort of happy ending because they were like, we're already asking those questions. I was like, brilliant, that's half the battle. Now
Yeah.
it's about converting those leads. But I see it all the time. Like I'll be in a hotel and a guest will check out with his laptop, or he'll check in, for example, with his
Hmm.
laptop and his bag. He's clearly coming for business. He's not with his wife and kids or on a stag do. It's obvious. It's a Tuesday night. It's 6 p.m. He's checking
Mm.
in. We all know why he's there. And, a really good reception team, they might recognize them, they might know these things, but if they're a new guest, why aren't they asking what brings you here?
Yeah.
Where's your office? It doesn't need to be pushy. It doesn't need to be bossy. And I think this is where the misconception is. They think that sales is pushy. Sales
Sure.
isn't pushy. I mean, I could be really pushy if I need to be, but sales is not pushy, right? It's just about recognizing every opportunity for revenue and turning it into a direct relationship, first and
Yeah.
foremost. So I really enjoyed doing that training. That's something else I offer in my business as well. I can go and do face-to-face training with individuals or teams. But I just think we're missing a trick if we're
Mm.
not given our reservations agents that are taking the calls, if we're not giving them the tools they need to be able to have that conversation. And it's the same for meeting events, right? Like I used to be in more on site at hotels, I'd actually do a script, not to
Yeah.
sound robotic, but just to make sure they were qualifying those inquiries that came
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
So if it was just like a boardroom inquiry or a conference inquiry or even a corporate group staying, they, well, have you been here before? What made you choose this hotel? Who's the decision maker? What
Mm.
budget have you got? Is it location driven? Or that all those questions can just tell you so much about the customer you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And the same can be said for the transient booker. So it all starts on reception. When I had
Yeah.
the course a couple of weeks ago, I said to them, who's responsible for driving revenue in the hotel? It was a trick
Mm.
question. I put sales, revenue, marketing, and they all just went. And I went, it's you.
Mm.
It's actually you. You're speaking to every guest. I don't get to speak to the guests. Revenue don't
So
get to speak
true.
to the guests. It's back at house.
Yeah. It's
So,
a number of strategic open questions can open up such an incredible conversation. And
absolutely.
as you said, and I'd never thought about this before, probably because I'm not in that seat, but you're right. Those receptionists or the reception desk people, they are talking to every single person that comes up to that desk. So
Uh-huh.
you've immediately got an opportunity to open up a conversation. And that conversation could inevitably and naturally lead to either a passive or an active sale, right? And then,
Uh-huh.
cross sale and upsell and whatever else. But all it takes is just a couple of really key, well-structured, open questions,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
opportunities just open up.
And don't underestimate the value of incentivizing your team as well. So
Yeah.
without sort of giving specific properties, I've got a branded hotel at the minute that is rewarding their front office team with love to shop or Amazon vouchers if a conversation they have converts into a direct lead for a corporate
Yep.
rate. I've got another hotel that's given their whoever made the reservation, and it usually is the front office team because it's a small
Hmm.
hotel. They are giving them 3% of the booking value as well.
Yeah.
So there's different ways you can do it. I mean, back when I was on reception 105 years ago, it was like business card in the bowl, fish
Oh
bowl
yeah,
on
of
the
course.
desk. And it was
Yeah.
like, we had this little sign, monthly prize draw, be in with a chance to win DBB for two, drop your business card in. And then I would be the strategic salesperson that would go through. I hope no one's watching this that I used to work with back then, but I would go through and go, oh my God, that's a PA at such and such. We need to get them in. She's won the business draw the prize draw this month. So
Yeah.
that was the old way to do it. Another good way to do it now is scan this QR. You
Of
can
course.
digitalize it. You can make it more modern, but it's about capturing the guests. You've only got a very short window when
Yeah.
they're checking in and checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For
just
sure.
I just think about ways you can be creative with getting your team excited about it. Don't
Yeah.
let them think we're asking them to do something else on top of their normal job. It should be
Yeah.
built within, and if we can reward them for it, why not?
Do you see is it more often than not that people are being incentivized and they have sort of a robust approach to it? Or is this one of the biggest things that you're seeing from your clients that they need support with?
Both. So some of my
Okay.
clients are really proactive in the fact where they go, right, I want to incentivize the team. Everyone needs to be on board. I think it depends how commercially driven the leadership team is as well. Like
Yeah,
some
okay.
hotels have got a very operational general manager. Some have got a very commercial background general manager. So it all
Sure.
depends on what may have worked for them in the past. But I think it's about just now, like I say before, that heavy reliance on the third
Mm,
party booking tools. The GMs, whether they're commercial or operational, they still see how much commission they're paying. So
yeah.
it's within their best interest to make a change. And that starts with front office. But generally, it is something that I will sort of um,
Yeah.
suggest when I come. Have you thought about incentivizing the team? Some
Yeah, yeah.
hotels are really hot on it. And you see the direct bookings go up, or you see more corporate business landed direct as a
Yep.
result of negotiations happening on site rather than them going elsewhere.
Yeah. I suppose a big part of your role, it's similar with mine at times, but I imagine you find yourself in a seat where it's not always just you giving hands-on support. I imagine a big part of what you do is very educational as well. Not
Mm,
with just frontline teams, but as you said, if somebody is or if you've got an operational leader who is very much coming from an operation side of things, I imagine there's times where you are in that sort of education seat to say, well, these are all the reasons why the commercial side of the business needs that more attention. And are clients quite receptive to that? I use the word education, but it could be training or whatever. Do you find that they are quite receptive, or sometimes are you finding that it's quite difficult to get that buy-in?
Do you know, no. And I think it's because at the point of reaching out to me, they know they need support.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I don't think they would come to me if that was their. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to, everyone who works with me is going to agree with my opinions.
Sure.
That just
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah. Of
happen. So I have to remain neutral and respect it is their business. I can only make suggestions. When I'm
course.
not physically doing the job, yeah, you're right. I take that more of a sort of top level seat where I do consult. I mean, I've had hotels I've worked with that didn't know what RevPAR was, the owners. They're brand new to
Wow.
the industry where they're
Oh,
learning at a very
right.
quick pace. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they've not come from other hotels.
Sure, sure.
They've
I was like,
literally
what?
no, no, no.
Okay.
They've literally like this is the first hotel they've owned
Sure.
or they've stepped into this role from, so it's all different. But generally, I would say that when the stakeholders or the leadership or the senior directors really are at the point of calling me, they already know they need that help.
Yeah. Makes
Um,
sense.
because if it's not broke, you don't fix it, do you? I mean, it's one of those things. Like hotels always come to me because there's something they're not doing properly or understanding
Yeah.
properly. So they usually that's the buy-in. So I know
Yes.
that I've that's a good opportunity for me to then educate if needed as well.
Yeah. That actually brings me beautifully on to my next question, actually, which is in the very nature of your job and in the very nature of a lot of consultants' jobs, including mine, you speak to hoteliers every single day in different
Yeah.
environments, different size properties. The complexity may be massively different, the size of the property, and so on and so forth. What are some of the key elements or trends that you're seeing in the market right now that excite you, that are things that we should be aware of? Is there anything that you're seeing that you think, yeah, that's really cool?
Collaboration. So one thing
Okay.
I'm really seeing a lot of, and even something like me and you doing this,
Mm,
it used to be very black and white, the industry. It used to be like, right, there's the hotel, that hotel's a competitor, that's the agent.
yeah.
We need to call them to chase this booking. We don't want to ask who else's proposed rate. So it was all very like, stay in your lane, stay in your
Yes.
box. And then now what we're seeing is you've got tech providers, you've got revenue systems, you've got
Yeah.
all the latest innovations in revenue management and distribution and sales and digital and all that stuff
Yeah.
collaborating. And it helps that like all the best tech providers now do a bit of everything, the usual
Sure.
stuff. So you're
Yeah.
not just getting a company doing your booking engine. They're like, oh, we can do digital and SEO and websites as well. And it enables me to learn more as well, because just having one conversation with that particular client
Yeah.
or supplier or provider, if you wish, I'm hitting lots of different areas as well.
Yeah.
So hotels are getting a lot smarter with their tech stack as well, back on tech. One thing that does excite me is going into a hotel, finding out they've got like the best tech stack ever, but then going, but you actually don't need that, and you don't need that, and you don't need that. Did you know what this actually does? Do you know? And it's great to get like the great systems, like when you go and they go, oh, we've got SiteMinder, we've got Opera Cloud, it's the
Yeah.
dream. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, but then what really excites me is the ones that, and this is something I'm having with clients as we speak at the moment, shifting them systems. And they go, oh, we use this booking engine, but we're really not happy with them. I can go, right, well, I've got a great contact here, or
Yeah.
I've just had a demo call with these guys. I can recommend these. So I guess it's having that sort of stage to suggest
Yeah.
sorts of things that I would never have known about before. Like I didn't
Yeah,
know
for
about
sure.
tech. I just didn't know about booking engines. I only started learning about GDS about 4 years ago. It's constantly evolving, and technology is just playing a huge part of
Yeah.
AI. I can't say I get that excited about AI because it scares me a little bit.
Sure.
But recently I was at a hotel and they had this super powerful version of Claude,
Oh yeah.
which was, I think it went offline in June this month because apparently
Right.
there's like concerns over its safety in America and all this stuff. It can apparently hack into Microsoft or some weird. I was like,
Wow.
whoa. But I managed to get a look on it and pull some data, and I just went, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about replacing us, it's about making us so much more efficient.
Yeah.
And there's so much I can do with AI that isn't replacing me. It's not taking away my creativity. I've got blind spots. Everyone's got blind spots.
Yeah.
I've got ADHD. I can't stay focused on one thing for more than 5 minutes. I'm surprised we're still having a conversation, to be honest, because
or we're not on something completely different.
I know I'm really trying really hard to stay on track. But it made me go, whoa. And then I thought, no, do you know what? I'm not going to use this as okay, this is too scary and big and I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to go, right, what areas of it can I pick to make me more efficient? And I think that's the same with hotels as well. It's like, do they know they can be more efficient running reports like this or like this?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
always get excited having the tech stack and technology conversation with them.
Awesome.
I think that's because I'm learning too. And then I guess just the fact that hotels are starting to work more flexibly, in the fact that goes back to collaboration, this fractional sales support model. So
Yeah.
the conversations when I first started were very, very deep and da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. I don't know if it's because I'm getting more experienced or because maybe word of mouth or my reputation precedes me. I don't know.
Mhm.
But the calls I'm getting now are very much like, right, I know you can do this, this, and this. I need someone to do this. Can you help? And
Right.
that's like, woof, that was quick. Whereas in the past would have been like, oh. So it's just that sort of approach to, we know we need external resource. And I was
Yeah.
explaining to my husband this morning, I said, it's a bit of a niche in the industry, but it's not anymore. And I think what started it was digital and marketing, because unless you were a big hotel brand,
Mm.
you wouldn't employ someone to do marketing and tech and digital
Sure.
and SEO. You would outsource it, right?
Yeah.
So the same is now happening with revenue, as we know,
Yeah.
although
Yeah.
when needed, the key players do have their own revenue teams, of course. but it's just about that level of support that's needed without being all in. I'm
Yeah.
kind of on the peripheral, but I've got one foot in. Well, I've always got 2 feet in, but you know what I mean? I'm there, I'm part of your team, I'm in the background, but
Yeah.
I'll be as involved as you want me to be, or I could be completely anonymous if you want me to be. It's just usually they want me to be really involved, but
Yeah, yeah, or
however it
or
works.
at least at the very start, I imagine, and then as
Yes.
things are starting to become, I guess, realized in terms of the
But
various
you build
opportunities
trust
that
as
you've helped
well.
with.
It takes time to build trust.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Um, okay, in terms of, so we've obviously talked about various things in the industry. What about 17 sales support as a business? So, what does the future hold? Is there anything that you're able to share with us? Any exciting stuff going on? Because every time I see you on LinkedIn, you've got something going on, new client, new this, we're doing this. It's awesome to see. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on because it looks like things are really, really working. And that is awesome to see. So, what's going on? What's the future hold? What's exciting?
You was mega. I think I went from 9 or 10 locations to 13 or 14, I think,
Wow.
that I support.
Okay.
And there's going to be more in July. So watch this space. Which
Okay.
brings me to the really exciting part. I'm hopefully scaling the business because I think everyone's got a ceiling. And I always
Yes.
said I would only do what I can on my own. I don't want to saturate myself. I don't want to spread myself too
No.
thin. I certainly don't want to offer, non-quality work. I want to set out to deliver the work that I promised at the beginning. And
Of
when I
course.
started the business, I want it to be the same level of quality. So scaling the business in a way where I've already got a VA, but additional admin support maybe, and then not too distant in the future, as in this year, I will have 1 or 2 people coming on to do business development and like account management with me and like
Sure.
research. And that's all going to help me because it just takes that off my plate so I
Of
can then
course.
grow the business more. Because they say, don't you, you need to sort of work on your business and not in
Mm.
your business. And I'm working in everyone's business every single day. And I love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way, but there's only so much you can do before you have to have that growth chat with yourself of okay,
Of
what's
course.
next? What's the next steps? But I would like 17 sales support to become bit, a few of me,
Yeah. Okay.
bit of an agency setup maybe.
Yeah.
Um, always sort of focused on that commercial side, so I'm not going to be going into operations again or anything like that. But yeah, so I don't know how it looks and I do know how it looks and feels, but I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about it until I'm. But it's
Yeah. I get that.
exciting, and
You,
there's
I
also
can
it's
tell you visualized it, right? You've visualized this to a detail, and I get
I've
it. You don't want to share
manifested.
too much at this time at this
Yeah,
stage,
but
but
I've manifested this, and it's just
yeah.
the business is. It's really interesting. Like I'm not making the decision of where the business is going. It's like the business is deciding for me.
Yeah.
So all it takes is one call off a potential client that makes me go, if I had someone with me, I could take that on and more. So it's
Yeah.
about responding to those requests as well. And is
Yeah.
that how does the business pull me along rather than me? Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, the awesome thing is, right? You've been in business what, just over a year now?
A year and
So
1 month,
a
yeah.
year and 1 month. So the fact that you're planning now for that growth is really, really cool. The fact that your client base is growing pretty much exponentially is also really cool. And it's awesome because I remember when you first started and to where you are now, it's just so great to see. And what I'd love to do is maybe in like 8, 12 months time, we have another catch up. And like
Yeah.
hopefully you've got a
Love
team and
to.
you're absolutely smashing it and all the rest of it. So we've got to get you back on the show.
I'd love to. I'd love to because but there's a few exciting projects in the pipeline as well that haven't come to fruition yet, just because we're a little bit back and forth on them, like
Sure.
decision making brought in and all that. Some really exciting properties. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Watch this space, guys.
yeah,
Well, what I'll do, maybe we catch up. We sort something out for a few months' time. We'll try and figure
yeah.
out when's best to do it. We'll find out what's
Perfect.
going on with the business, catch up with you. But for now, I want to say a massive thank you to you, Alex, for taking some time out of your busy schedule because I know how incredibly busy you are right now. It's been an
So are
absolute
you.
pleasure having you.
So are
Oh,
you.
yeah. Well, we're in the same boat on that front. But I want to say a massive thank you to you because, as
Thank
I
you.
say, first time you've been on the show, it's been an absolute pleasure having you, getting your insight into various things in the industry, and of course, finding out a bit about you, your background, and of course, your business.
Perfect.
All right.
Loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
No, no problem at all. And guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. As I said at the very start, we're trying to bring you content every single week with amazing guests just like Alex. And to do that, we need a growing and great community around us. So please do, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below of this episode. And don't forget to click the like button. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.